Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. It ain't even 24 hours in a day. You cannot be sleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LA and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They already making decisions about your life and your ass was sleep.
I get 8 hours of sleep. I prioritize it. Unless I'm traveling in different time zones, sometimes it's impossible, but I think better, I have more energy, my mood is better.
In these two clips, we have two very successful entrepreneurs with completely different productivity philosophies. And if you're keeping score, Bezos is technically more successful than Harvey by about $226 billion. Now, I'm not an Amazon fanboy, and I get Bezos has had his fair share of controversy, but use him as data. The owner of a $3 trillion company prioritizes a full night's rest. Now, to be frank, there will be times when you can't get a full night's of rest. Whether you have a deadline at work or it's finals week, sometimes you might have to hit emergency override. The problem is when grind set culture tries to convince you the override should be your default. Sleep deprivation is like a credit card. It's fine to use it occasionally, but when you start living off it, you'll eventually bankrupt your health and your brain. And I'm definitely not saying that discipline is a scam. Improving your life is one of the best things that you can do for your life. The problem is culture has turned growth into a competition. We've become obsessed with the appearance of optimization. This is exactly how we've gotten trends like looks maxing, where your worth as a human is literally measured in jawline angles and bone structure instead of more important matters like character, for example. And we've been tricked into applying that same maxing logic to our work too. We're told the idea that if you're not completely optimizing all 86,400 seconds of your day while the rest of the world is sleeping, it's the shortcut illusion. The lie that you can hack your way out of years of boring and consistent work that success actually requires. Now, let's talk about why your optimized life actually feels more like a cage.
Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day and grounding my thought process, no one will outwork me. No one. Where does it start? What's the anchor?
Waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't magically give you more time. No matter what time you choose to get up at, there's still 24 hours in a day. It just shifts your circadian rhythm. If you're waking up at 4 a.m. and you're burnt out by noon, you haven't gained much of anything. Not to mention the fact that The Rock has been chemically enhanced the majority of his career. So when your biology is enhanced like the way his is, you can handle the stress of a 4 a.m. red line. But for the average person whose only enhancement is a large amount of caffeine, trying to match that pace is recipe for burnout. And this is where the 5 a.m. club completely ignores human biology. We all have our own unique chronotypes, an internal biological clock that dictates when our processing power is at its peak. Early birds are primed for the morning. For them, 5 a.m. is their natural starting time. Night owls do their best work at night, like they're Batman. And then intermediate, which is where most people fall, usually peak around midday. The 5 a.m. gurus love talking about how the world is quiet in the morning, and they're right, but the world is also quiet at 11 p.m. Silence isn't exclusive to a.m. or p.m. Forcing yourself into a 4 a.m. routine when your body isn't wired for it isn't discipline. It's self-sabotage. The goal isn't to beat the sun and the competition. It's to find your sweet spot. If you're a morning person, great. Wake up at 5 in the morning. But if you're forcing a 4 a.m. just to feel like you're disciplined, you aren't being productive. You're just performing. Winston Churchill, for example, led a country through a world war while staying in bed until 11 a.m. He wasn't lazy. He was efficient with his energy. He knew the war wouldn't be won by the person who woke up first. It would be won by the person whose brain was sharp enough to make the most tactical moves. Because at the end of the day, a mountain of garbage produced at 4 a.m. is still just a mountain of garbage. And there's a massive difference between being awake and being functional. If your brain is literal mush because you're forcing a productive persona, you aren't winning. I'd much rather be the person who wakes up at 9 a.m. and hits their targets instead of the one who cosplays as discipline by waking up at 4 in the morning. We've normalized this obsession with volume of work rather than the velocity of the work. If you've been to college, you've all seen people that brag about living in the library, being there for 12 hours, pulling all-nighters for exams. But if you actually audit their time, they aren't working as much as they say they do. They might be in there for 12 hours, but a lot of that time is organizing notes and taking dopamine breaks on their phone. I saw this happen in one of my classes recently. Someone was talking about how crazy that they were going after because they were studying for 2 weeks straight every single day. And when the grades came back, they said that they got a 75% on the test. Meanwhile, I spent a fraction of that time and got a better grade. On paper, it seems as if they outworked me, but they just optimized the wrong variable. Time spent doesn't automatically guarantee success. But why do we do that? Why do we spend multiple hours doing what should take a fraction of that? It's because we've been taught to optimize the wrong variable. We obsess over the clock, thinking more time equals more results. But in any system, adding more of the wrong resource doesn't help if you haven't identified the real bottleneck. And the bottleneck isn't time, it's attention. Every time you check a notification or switch tasks, you're essentially resetting your mental momentum every single time you take a quick dopamine break. By the time you try to get back to that complex problem, your energy is already drained by 1,000 tiny distractions. High quality work is a simple equation: time spent times intensity of focus. If your focus is at 0 because you're tired and distracted, it doesn't matter if you spent 12 hours sitting at the desk. Your output is still going to be 0. It's much more efficient to be the person that gets decent work finished in 90 minutes per se, and then gets to actually enjoy their life, versus the one wasting countless hours performing. But there's a reason why we keep falling into this trap. When our focus breaks and we feel that mental lag, we don't look inward to fix our system. We look outward for some type of shortcut. And this is where the Grindset community is waiting to attack. After taking your 23rd dopamine break of the day, you're sitting there scrolling past a day in the life video on TikTok, and they claim that they're making 6 figures a day, day trading and drop shipping, and how productive they are. But if someone is filming their deep work session, they aren't really doing deep work. They're directing a movie about deep work. They had to set up a tripod, get the perfect lighting, and do multiple takes just to make sure they appeared the actor. Real work is ugly. It's sitting in a messy room in PJs, absolutely geeked on caffeine, foaming out the mouth like a squirrel.
What?
Watching these videos is not efficient because you're comparing their highlight reel to your raw behind the scenes. This leads to productivity dysmorphia. It's a state where no matter how much you achieve, it's never enough. It's the nagging guilt you feel the second that you sit on the couch. Voice saying that you should learn a new skill or start a new side hustle, and you start to view your own human needs like hunger, fatigue, a desire to just relax for a minute as obstacles that need to be conquered. You aren't a human being anymore. You are a machine that's perpetually failing its own unrealistic quotas. Real improvement doesn't need a cinematic soundtrack or perfect lighting. In fact, real growth is usually pretty quiet and ugly. Even take me going through puberty versus post-puberty, for example. Real growth is the boring stuff that doesn't make for a good thumbnail. It's getting a full night's of rest because your biology requires it, even if some influencer is telling you that you're lazy and not motivated. It's having the discipline to walk away from a project for the time being because you are redlining and you understand that your best work happens when your system is actually fully charged and not when your battery is almost dead. It's realizing that your value as a human being isn't a variable tied to hourly productivity. We have to stop trying to max our lives and just start living them. Buying a Michael Jordan jersey doesn't mean that you're Michael Jordan. It just makes you a fan. And in the same way, copying a 5 a.m. routine by some guru online doesn't make you successful. Don't be a fan of someone else's curated, color-graded highlight reel that they pretend is their life. Be the architect of your own progress. Build a system that actually works for your brain, for your schedule, for your goals. It might be slower, it might be messier, and it definitely won't look as good as highlight reels online, but it will be real. And real evolution takes a lot longer than 30 days. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be.